today for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency prices. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this is a very short video on Bitcoin, nevertheless a very important one. I am here right now on my digestion walk, waiting for the sunset, sweating like crazy because it's still kind of hot here, but of course that doesn't hold me back to make these videos for you and to go into the charts and talk exactly about what's going on for Bitcoin right now in the charts. Also to talk exactly about what is going on with my trades. Well, let's go quickly into it. ENA is still open 200,000. Tron still open 330,000. The last two videos I didn't show my trades because I made the video in the car. Here you can see the XRP trade 1.5 million. The Bitcoin trade back at almost 15 million US dollars in unrealized profits and 15 million US dollars in realized profits. Yeah, quite surprising. Ethereum back at $1 million and the Solana trade 1.5 million. Now the question of course is, how can we understand the charts? What is going to happen to Bitcoin right now in the immediate short term? Well, let's talk about that. And I want to start on the daily candles, but I can already tease us something. What's really important here to look at, if you want to determine, is this the end of the bull market, is it not, is the weekly candles, and we are going to come to that in the second part of that video. Let's quickly talk about the daily, and here you can see the flip, which we actually covered a few days ago, 2 weeks ago or so, where I told you we need to wait for the retest. The retest was here, unsuccessful for the bears. We broke through, and now the question is, of course, and the weekly will give us some clue about that, is this the beginning of an uprun? Because we see not only Bitcoin holding above, we also see the daily flipping again, the daily EMA ribbon, and that is usually much more often than not a good sign. But we do have, especially recently, I mean, usually it's an incredible indicator, but especially in the last few years, it has not always been perfect, right? I mean, here it was absolutely perfect the moment we got the daily. If you sold, you prevented major losses, like significant major losses. And this is the case most of the time, but not always. Sometimes we have these false flips where Bitcoin just goes back above, liquidates the short, liquidates the longs, right? And yeah, then you actually have an indication, which, okay, here again, it's extremely powerful, right? But you have an indication which just not always works. And if it doesn't always work historically, it can be very risky to take it into consideration for your trading or investment decisions, right? Let's go over to the weekly. If we are going to the weekly, this indicator is, of course, much less variable. We see flips much less often towards the downside and towards the upside. So these bearish flips, we also see Bitcoin going much less often below or above because it's just much more lagging. It's a weekly exponential moving average ribbon, right? Here you can see we are not even close to flipping yet. Bitcoin is still above. Bitcoin was holding the support. Here it was holding the support. So usually within a bull market, we are not breaking below, right? And within a bear market, we are staying below. Once we are breaking above, this is the confirmation of a bull market. I covered that in 2022, if I'm remembering correctly. Here you can also see a very nice flip towards the downside. So here we are actually talking about something which is much more indicative. Here, look at this amazing example in the end of 2018. Incredible. Just before that big dump down from 6,500 down to 3,000. So here we are looking at an indicator which is much more important for me personally on the weekly to determine whether this bull market is over or not. And we can't say anything about that until Bitcoin is not breaking 95. So if you are asking me, dear ladies and gentlemen, let's go back here. For me, the ceiling for us to say, okay, Bitcoin is here potentially going into a bear market would be 95,000 closing below with a weekly candle. But if that happens, we already made a 20% dump, and you never know, maybe it just goes to 70, to 60, maybe just to 80. It is not a sell indication for me, but it's certainly an indication. I'll probably stop trading at this point of time, right? And even right now, I am waiting for us to confirm on the weekly a potential bounce on the daily bounce on the daily EMA if we are getting another bounce there, because we did not really confirm that breakthrough towards the upside yet. If Bitcoin goes back down and bounces from there, I think that would be a very bullish indication for Bitcoin. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and we are going to see each other very soon at the next time. I'm MMCrypto. As always, guys, as always, bye.